Holistic Voice presents the Food Heals podcast with your hosts, Alison Melody and Susie Hardy. Join the Food Heals Nation and learn the secrets to go from feeling unwell to healing yourself.
Warning, side effects of this podcast may include increased health and vitality, thoughts of living longer, an increase in sexual activity, feelings of joy, cravings for kale and quinoa, and a spike in Tinder matches. In rare cases, women have experienced a strong desire to stop asking their boyfriends if they look fat and stressed. If you experience any of these symptoms, post a selfie to Instagram immediately.
All right, welcome Food Heals Nation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Alison Melody. Everyone wants to feel good. We want to feel energetic and positive and physically well. These are the keys to a happy, healthy life, right? There isn't a single person on this planet who's like, I want poor health. I don't want to feel good, right? Unfortunately, there are many factors in our modern world that are causing a decline in our vitality, like environmental toxins, like poor diet, like stress, like our lifestyles. Now, the ultimate key to health lies at the heart of today's guest, Dr. Group's philosophy and the concept that led him to build one of the greatest supplement companies on this planet, the Global Healing Center, from the ground up. His goal is to teach your body to heal itself. That's right, straight off of his website, Food Heals Nation. Could our missions be in any more alignment? So if you're sick of hearing Allie, your podcast host, say, hey, your body can heal itself, people, today you get to hear it straight out of a doctor's mouth, right? Dr. Group's philosophy is actually simple. If you cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and take steps on a wellness journey at your own pace, your body will heal itself. So this journey should include a healthy, preferably plant-based diet, physical fitness, plenty of sleep, water, and peacefulness. Add in some high-quality nutritional supplements like you can get at the Global Healing Center, and you cannot lose. With these vital things, you can experience absolutely what it means to feel your best every single day. So, today's episode might be one of the most important episodes you ever listen to. Dr. Group breaks it down for us. What is the cause of all disease? How do we heal it? It's not hard, and he will break it down. So, get out a pen and paper, get ready to take some notes, send this episode to a friend who needs to hear it. And Dr. Group's mission is to be your partner in healthy living. His products at the Global Healing Center are rooted in nature and backed by science. They've worked for me. They've worked for millions of others. They've worked for a lot of Food Heals listeners. I know they're going to work for you too. You can go to globalhealingcenter.com. You can use my discount code FOODHEALS21 and you'll get 20% off your order of any Global Healing Center products. These are the products I swear by and use in my everyday life. All right, next up, my interview with Dr. Group. Roll it, Roxy.
The Food Heals Podcast starts now.
All right, he is the founder of Global Healing Center. You've heard me talking about them since day one of Food Heals Nation. You guys remember, this is my favorite brand. It's my go-to for all of my supplements. Please welcome Dr. Group to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always a good day when we can help educate people and help create positive change in their life.
Yes, and I know that you and I are on similar missions. And you know what's crazy is we actually have similar backgrounds as to how we got here, because I lost both of my parents to cancer by the time I was 25, and you lost both of your parents and I believe your mom to cancer by the time you were 30, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know what that's like to go through and how it changes your worldview. And so as a doctor, someone in the medical field, how did this experience shape where you would go with your career? Because now you are holistic. Now you take a completely different approach than, let's say, Western medicine would take. And in fact, you are on the forefront of this revolution that we are currently in for health freedom. And so how did losing your parents to cancer shape your path and what you do today?
Well, my dad died of cancer when I was in my 20s. And during that time that was actually before I had no idea that I was going to be in the natural cancer industry at that point in time. But
Right.
it really hurt me. My dad was a chemist and I didn't understand why he got cancer so fast and why he passed away. Later, I learned exactly why that happened. But I was actually allopathically trained. I wanted to become a heart surgeon, and I just happened, the way the universe works in mysterious ways.
Sure.
I was at a dinner one night and I was talking to this guy sitting next to me, and he was part of developing this cancer research team in alternative medicine. Now, this was back in '95 when there wasn't any internet, and no one, you couldn't get online and search for anything. And I ended up kind of arguing with this guy because wanted to be a heart surgeon, and I was just about ready to take my MCAT to go into medical school. And we got in an argument. Basically, he was like, allopathic medicine just treats the symptoms. It doesn't treat the root cause, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we have the best researchers, billions of dollars going into the cancer societies, looking for all these cures and all this stuff. And
Knowing you now, this is so funny that you were on that side for a while.
yeah, I was. And yeah, I know it's weird for me to even say that. But the thing is, then the dinner was over and he said, look, did they teach you how to break down pharmaceuticals and teach you what happens to the physiological and biochemical pathways in the body when people take pharmaceuticals? And I was like, no, they just like teach us about what to use for what illness. And he goes, why
Right.
don't you just do a little research before you open up your mind a little bit? And I was like, I couldn't sleep that night because I was thinking, wow, what if, let me do this? I mean, what if he's right? And so I
Right.
literally went to the library the next day. I couldn't wait to get there. And I started pulling out all kinds of books, and I started looking at, I had the benefit of being a chemist and a biochemist at that point in time. I got my first chemistry set when I was 1 because my dad was a chemist. He was a organic chemist. So I knew a lot about that and biochemistry. And I went to the library, and literally within 3 hours, I was completely blown away. At that point in time, I looked at the biochemistry, I looked at the components, started breaking down the pharmaceuticals, a few of them, seeing how they work in the body, what they do, how they change things. None of them fixed anything except for maybe, antibiotics would kill something off, but the majority was covering something up, or basically putting a band-aid on a situation. And
Right.
I can remember driving home, and I was literally crying in my car because everything I had dreamed of had gone out of the window at that point in time. And I
Wow. Yeah.
went to him and I said, can I join your research team? I want to know everything that you know. And at that point in time, we started diving in, traveling around, talking to doctors, basically underground, because doctors were being killed if they were mentioning cancer, or if they were treating cancer naturally, they were being tracked down. It was a big no-no. And this was, like I said, in the mid 90s to the late 90s. And what our job as our research team was to find what was working and bring it back and share that information. And so we looked at ozone, we looked at every possible thing, high dose vitamin C, hyperthermia, and we learned about spiritual healing. We learned about instantaneous healing. We learned about every possible form of healing that you could think about. Juice fasting, water only fasting, urine therapy. I mean,
Haven't heard of the last one yet.
we were fascinated, just fascinated. Like, we knew at that point in time that we had cures for every single disease. I said we had cures, but really what we realized was that ultimately it was the person that healed themselves. And the true
Yes.
definition of a doctor is a teacher, not a prescriber. The big thing that was missing was that people weren't being taught why they have the conditions that they have. So that was our research, was identifying the root cause of all disease. And the root cause of all disease is toxicity. It's living in a toxic external environment and creating a toxic internal environment. That was what we found, which was very simple, actually. And so I was just going through that process when I lost my mom to cancer. I barely
Wow.
had a chance to, some of the things that we were looking at, we were in the beginning stages that we tried on her, but my mom also didn't want to completely radically change her diet, and she had been a smoker for a long period of time. So it was difficult. It's always difficult when you try to work on or treat friends and family.
Yeah, our
And,
stories are so similar. You have no idea. I'm just like, yep, been there.
yeah. So, but I learned a lot, and that was the beginning stages. And then ended up ultimately opening up our own cancer and degenerative disease clinic in 1999, using the protocols and detoxification strategies and teaching people why they had disease to begin with. And that's when the journey
Amazing.
started. And we were very successful. That's also when we started looking at developing our own products, because there was just everything that was out there had toxic fillers and excipients and all kinds of stuff in it. And then ultimately, we got so popular so fast because we were teaching people how to reactivate their own body's self-healing mechanism, teaching them why they had the conditions that they had, reshaping their lifestyle, teaching them how to live healthy, how to eat healthy, how to recognize the chemicals and the toxins in their external environment and internal environment, and how to detoxify from those, but basically how to reactivate their own God-given self-healing mechanism.
Absolutely. Yes, I love this.
And that's why we were so successful. And the FDA found out about us in 1999, and they came and raided our clinic and shut us down. And I almost went to jail because I was, basically teaching people how to heal themselves without pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
And from that day forward, we were not allowed to see patients anymore, not allowed to treat anybody. So I said, we're going to go
Absolutely
online
criminal.
and give everybody this information for free, which is, it's very, very simple. It doesn't matter what condition you're dealing with. Detoxification, what we found was all disease from the external and internal environment, the first thing that it's going to damage is your gut. Then it's going to congest your liver. Then you're going to have too many harmful organisms in your body. Then you're going to start accumulating too many chemicals and heavy metals. And the fifth thing is your emotional patterns. Those are really the five
Mm.
things that happen with everybody. So the secret on how to eliminate is to clean and heal the gut, detox the liver, clean all the harmful organisms out of the body, clean all the chemicals and heavy metals out of the body, and then work on your mindfulness, your meditation, cleaning the emotional triggers out of your life so you can become self-confident. You can love yourself again. You're not being in a state of anger, fear. You're getting rid of all of those emotions and living in a very positive emotional state.
Yes, it's so important. I remember when I first discovered all of this, I was like the green juice girl before it was cool and trendy. And I was just drinking carrot juice and green juice and doing all the things and changing my nutrition and eliminating things that were, allergens or things that were toxic to my body after doing functional medicine testing. And I was feeling so vibrant and so alive and so much better. But I was like, okay, I'm at like 85%, but what is the missing component here? Like I've done everything nutrition wise. What am I missing? And it was the emotional component. So then I realized, oh, I have to do some trauma healing because even though I'm Miss Healthy now, I haven't dealt with the fact that I lost both of my parents to cancer and never really grieved their deaths because I just kept going. I didn't face the sadness and the anger at the doctors who didn't save my parents. All of this stuff was still inside of me. So I had to detox the toxic emotions as well as the toxic foods. And that was such a wake up call learning that.
Yeah, we really, especially with the society that we're in right now, and there's so much victim mentality and so much initiation of fear and anxiety and stress. The emotions are something that we have to constantly work on and try to improve upon every single day. What we noticed is once your body starts to become clean, like once we did the intestinal cleanse and then we did the liver cleanse, a lot of emotions are stored in your liver. According to traditional Chinese medicine, that's what they would always do with people that needed to relieve emotions, is they would do liver cleansing. But what we found was one liver cleanse wasn't enough. we about 5 years ago, we started looking. At that point, we had done over 1 million liver cleanses with people around the world. So we had a lot of data. But what we realize right now, that the liver, it really holds people's emotions, and that one liver cleanse really only cleans about 15% of the liver. In
Wow.
order for you to be really, really healthy and not have any suffering from any conditions, your liver needs to be functioning above 80%. Everybody's liver right now on the planet is probably only 15 to 30% at the most,
Oh
because your
no.
liver is so congested with fats. It's like an oil filter that you've never changed in your car. And so, and we figured this out about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, and we changed our program to where people need to do 3 liver cleanses. Because let's say your liver's working 20%. The first liver cleanse is only going to get it to 35. The next one's going to get it to 50. The next one's going to get it to 65. And we found that people need to do multiple liver cleanses. And as we started implementing that, we also noticed that a lot of the emotions were leaving, and people were becoming more self-confident. During the healing process, once you clean all that junk out, as a matter of fact, a lot of the emotions, a lot of the anger, a lot of the emotional roller coaster rides that people are suffering from, and they just can't figure out why one day they're depressed and the next day they're angry and the next day they're, going through lots of stress or emotions. When you look at the toxicity levels in the brain, that's causing toxins actually cause emotional disturbances or roller coaster rides, because the excitotoxins that get lodged in the brain, which are also what's causing Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and difficulty with brain fog and things like that, those are all just chemicals being lodged in the brain tissue. Every problem that you can imagine in your system, most of it's all because of toxicity. And no one is, so we're taking in millions of these chemicals and toxins every single day, but nobody is cleaning them out. They're taking a shower to
Right.
wash the outside of their skin, but they're not cleansing the inside of their body.
And Dr. Group, I've seen the argument a lot of times online, and people who don't get this, who just say our bodies are meant to detox. So they're detoxing every day. And it's like, yeah, of course. However, we are bombarded with more toxins than ever existed before in human history, whether it's in our food, our water, our air, our soil, off gassing from, the chair I'm sitting in right now. Right. And so our body isn't equipped for the modern day toxic load that we're exposed to. Am I right?
Yeah, there's 5 ways that women detox, and there's 4 ways that men detox. Okay, so we
Okay.
we detox through respiration and sweating. These are your elimination routes, right? Detox and sweating. I'm sorry, sweating and breathing. So when you look at those 2 elimination routes, and you look at today's society and being a sedentary lifestyle, the majority of people that are sick are not exercising, which they're breathing rapidly. When you're exercising and your breath starts, when you start breathing hard, the body starts pushing toxins out through your breath and through your
Yes.
skin, through sweating. So those 2 are really pretty much only working maybe 10% of the time, where people might sweat for like 5 minutes out of the day, or most people are not even sweating and breathing rapidly. So those 2 elimination routes are not, maybe only working 10% of what they should be. The second one is going to be defecation. Okay, so most people are constipated. Most people are not drinking enough water. They're not having enough bowel movements. So that elimination route is shut down. So they're not detoxing. And then the chemicals and all the stuff that they're eating are going right back into the bloodstream. So you have breathing, you have skin, you have defecation, you have urination. Now, believe it or not, most toxins are not released through your urination. Your urine is actually sterile. There's only a very, very tiny amount of toxins that are released in your urine, because most of it is going to be put into your bowel through your bowel movements. And most of it's going to come out through your skin, and most of it's going to come out through your breath, the toxins, once they're processed in your body. And with women, you have your menstrual cycle. So women have 5 ways to eliminate and detox. Men only have 4.
Got it.
So once a month, women are going to menstruate, and then they're going to release a bunch of toxins that way. So the issue is we are equipped with detoxification pathways, but we're taking in 100 to 1,000 times more toxins every single day than our body can naturally detoxify. That's the issue. So we have an accumulation and accumulation and accumulation. The liver is your main detoxification organ. Right now, you're seeing children with fatty liver. The liver, and we don't, the interesting thing here is that main allopathic medicine, I was talking about all the pathways to disease being your gut going first. Well, allopathic medicine doesn't really have any ways to test your gut, does it? Second is your liver. Allopathic medicine doesn't really have any ways to test how good you're detoxifying, how congested your liver is. Does your liver contain parasites and flukes in it? What percentage of stuff is actually being detoxified in your liver? No, we have these really generic tests that test the liver to see, if you have alcoholism or you might have a little bit of cirrhosis. The third thing that causes disease is an overwhelming amount of parasites in your body, harmful organisms. Does allopathic medicine have any tests for that? No. And then you have the chemicals and heavy metals that are causing the disease. Does allopathic have any testing for that? No. And then you have the emotional component. What does allopathic medicine do for that? They send you to a psychiatrist and get on more medication, which poisons the body. So the 5 ways that disease is caused, allopathic medicine has no testing for and no ability to tell you what your toxicity levels are or how good your body is detoxifying. So that's
this
the
makes
issue.
so much sense.
That's why the liver is so important. The liver is why you need to do multiple liver cleanses every single year, especially if you're eating and you're exposed to a lot of chemicals and a lot of toxins through the food and the beverages that you're consuming. And so we changed it to 3 liver cleanses. I mean, we had not too long ago had somebody that was sent home to die with 4-stage cancer. He ordered 3 liver cleanse programs. They gave him 2 weeks to live. He did his first liver cleanse. He was still alive after a week. He ordered a few more. He did a second one. He was still alive after 2 weeks. He had cancer all in his whole body. They said he wouldn't make it past 2 weeks. He was still alive. He did a 3rd liver cleanse. He was still alive. He did a 4th liver cleanse. He was still alive. This went on for 28 weeks. At the end of 28 weeks, he went back to his doctor, and his doctor said, "You have no more cancer in your body. What did you do?" The only thing he did was clean his liver. He didn't even do a bowel cleanse. He didn't even do a parasite cleanse. He didn't even do all the other cleanses. The only thing he did was clean his liver. Like, we're forgetting how important our liver is. Our liver is the main organ that is the gateway to disease or health. The gut first, obviously, because everything enters through the gut, but after it goes through the gut, it goes to the liver. The gut and the liver are the 2 main things we need to keep clean and keep healthy.
So, Dr. Group, on your website, you have a 6-day liver cleanse program. And is this something you're saying we would do this 6-day liver cleanse program 3 times to optimize our health and detox our livers?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you do it 3 times in a row, or do you take time off in between?
So what you do is you do one cleanse, and then you take 5 or 6 days off, and then you do another one, and then you take 5 or 6 days off and do another one.
And during this cleanse, because we see you've got the supplements, the oxy powder, the olive oil, the Epsom salt, turmeric, and liver health formula, are we able to eat during this time? Are we supposed to be eating a certain diet of vegetables during this time? What should we do to enhance the cleanse?
So what we do is we give you a color packet with all the instructions of a specific diet. It's a diet that anyone can do. It's, we're not telling you that you need to be just juicing, although that would work really well, but it's a diet that anyone can follow. And everything is outlined completely to where even an 8th grader could follow the instructions. It's very simple and it's very easy, and you don't have to take time off of work. All we do is we recommend that the last day of the cleanse that you are at home during that day. At night, you'll drink the olive oil on day 5, the evening of day 5, and we just ask that you do that on a Saturday or a Friday night, so you're going to be at home on the weekend. But other than that, it's the hardest part of the liver cleanse is actually drinking the olive oil. But we've evaluated so many liver cleanse programs over the years to try to simplify it. And Hulda Clark used to use this a variation of this liver cleanse, and with thousands and thousands of patients dating back to 1990s and the 1980s. The olive oil is what really, really works incredibly well to suck. It's like oil pulling for your liver to suck all those
Wow.
chemicals, suck all those toxins out. It is hard to drink 6 ounces of olive oil, I'll admit. But you can mix some lemon juice in there, get it cold in the refrigerator, mix it up, and then put some peppermint in your mouth before and after. There's different ways that we talk about that you can do it to where it goes down easier and smoother. So it's just, I mean, it is what it is, but we have to take care of our organs. We have to keep our livers clean. We have to keep our bowels clean. We just have to keep all that junk that causes disease out of our system.
Absolutely. And, when my father was diagnosed, he also had stage 4 liver cancer. And of course, Western medicine had no answers except chemo, radiation, and all the things. And I found at this time, we're in Wilmington, North Carolina. There was no holistic doctor that I knew of, but somehow I found one. He lived in the woods because, like you, his practice had been shut down. We go to his house in the woods. He wasn't in a white coat. So my dad was like, why are we at this man's house in the wood who's not a real doctor? Even though he was, it just didn't feel right to my father. But what that doctor said was, you have to do a liver cleanse. And he gave us an entire healing protocol on how to do the liver cleanse. And so as soon as we got home, it was like juicing and taking all these concoctions of garlic and things like that to make the cleanse. And my dad just sat me down and he was like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe in this. And if I don't believe in this, it's not going to work for me. And so I just wish this knowledge was more widespread at the time, and I would have had more time to convince him to try it, just like the person who you mentioned who became cancer free just by doing this liver cleanse 3 times, which is not hard. It is everything I can see here is just taking supplements. And I love the oxy powder, by the way. I swear by it.
Yeah, the oxy powder is actually Nikolai Tesla's original formula. When we were doing our research and looking at oxidative therapies and researching all of Tesla's health stuff, back in the 90s, we had access to it all. And one of the things that Tesla did that a lot of people don't know about, he was really into health. He's the one that developed ozonated olive oil and the ozone machine. And he worked with a guy named Dr. Eugene Bloss in 1898 and developed the oxygen-based intestinal cleanser. And that's how we got the formula. We got about 75% of the formula. So that's actually Tesla's original oxygen intestinal cleanser. But you're right. It's really difficult, and you made a really good point. People, and this is what happened in our cancer clinic and degenerative disease clinic, is the mom would, the husband would bring the wife in, or the wife would bring the husband in, or the mom would bring the daughter, or the daughter the dad, or something like that. And one of the things we would talk about in the initial consultation is, you need to really be 100% motivated. If someone else tries to do something for you, it's not going to work. You have to be the one that takes charge of your own healing. And we saw the same thing a few times. People were just saying, look, my daughter wants me to do this. I'm not into it. I don't believe in it. Or my mom wants me to do this. I'm not into it. I don't believe it. The patient has to believe it. They have to want to do it. They have to be motivated by it. They have to believe in it. They have to believe that they can be healed. So that's an issue that we've, addressed many times over the years with people calling in or that want to do something, and they have good intentions. They want to do it for their mom. They want to do it for their sister. They want to, see them get better. But if they don't have the internal workings of the motivation to learn about it and to do it and to go through it, then it's just not going to work.
Right. And so that was the hardest thing I ever had to do was basically accept my father's decision. And that really did propel me though into this world of natural health and healing because I was like, well, I'm going to help the people who do want to know, people like me who were searching for answers and could not find them. And that's what I started to do with Food Heals. And that's when I started healing myself with food and nutrition so that I could say, look, I've done it. You can do it too, right? Look at all these people I've interviewed who have now reversed stage 4 cancer, who have reversed chronic degenerative diseases that the doctor said, you're going to have this for the rest of your life. And the only thing we can do is pain management or pop this pill. And so that's who I do it for, because there are people that do want to heal themselves and they're out there, and all they need to do right now is go to globalhealingcenter.com and get the liver cleanse to start. Would you say? That's what I would do.
Yeah, yeah. Any of the cleansing. I mean, really the best, you can do it that way, but the best way to do it that we found is always start with the intestinal cleansing program, then move on to liver. Exactly how the toxins come into your body. You're just reversing it, right? Because over 95% of the chemicals and toxins that cause disease are going to enter through your intestinal lining. You're going to have a small percentage enter through your skin, and then you're going to breathe a small percentage in through your lungs. But the majority of all the disease-causing toxins are going to come in through your gut first. The second place they're going to go is the liver. So that's why we always usually start with intestinal cleansing, then we start with liver cleansing. And then once the liver's clean, then we remove all the parasites from the body. Anybody who is suffering from any negative health condition, guaranteed 100%, you have lots of harmful organisms living in your system. Now that can be candida, it can be mold, it can be worms, it can be bacteria, it can be viruses. The definition of a parasite is any living organism that lives off of a host organism, being you, that steals their nutrients and creates some sort of harm. And what happens when you have an excess of harmful organisms in your system is they all go to the bathroom in your body. And what do they secrete? They secrete isopropyl alcohol, phenol, toxic acids in your system. That's why everybody suffers from, they're being too acidic. When you talk about being acidic in the body, that's one of the root causes of disease. And most of it is because of the harmful organisms. Granted, the foods that they're eating as well and the beverages that they're drinking that are highly acidic, the carbonated beverages. But most people never look at the harmful organisms. That's one of the things Royal Raymond Rife, with the Rife machine years ago, we studied his work. And he said every disease he ever looked at under his light microscope had multiple harmful organisms associated with it. Even cancer, he said, was caused by the BX virus and fungus. We've been studying this for 25 years, and there's not one condition we haven't come across that doesn't have also harmful organisms associated with it. So it's vital. Once you clean the intestines and then you clean the liver, then you go ahead and you clean all the harmful organisms out of the body, because when they start dying off, the liver has to be a little bit healthy to help process all those chemicals and byproducts, because these harmful organisms go to the bathroom in your system every single day and keep your fluids acidic. That's why even the Gerson Clinic and some of the juicing clinics, they would juice people and you would juice them for 2 weeks and they would still be acidic. Unless you clean the harmful organisms out, those harmful organisms are still going to be producing those acids inside your body. So it's vital to do a harmful organism cleanse. And then after you've done all that, the last stage is to clean the chemicals and heavy metals out. That's what can really create, a lot of toxicity. When you start pulling out those chemicals, pulling out those heavy metals, you want your gut to be in pretty good working shape. You want your liver to be in good working shape. You don't want to have any parasites left in your body. And that's usually the last stage of what we did. Now, we worked with, we developed that system over the years, and in the order that we found is the easiest to do and the best order to keep your body healthy and clean and not have to go through too much of a healing crisis along the way.
Okay, if parasites going to the bathroom inside of you is not reason enough to start a cleanse, I don't know what is, right? Food Heals Nation, it's certainly that time of year again. Fall leaves, pumpkin spice, scary movies, and the holidays are right around the corner. And did you know that most of us gain extra weight between Halloween and the New Year? Look, let's be honest, that makes perfect sense. It's full of fall celebrations, family get-togethers, lots of gift giving, and it's really a 2-month food fest, So this very often can end in us gaining weight. And the problem with weight gained during the holiday season is that it can take months to lose, according to a new study by the New England Journal of Medicine. And unfortunately, many of us never lose the weight because packing on extra pounds stay on and accumulate year after year. And so researchers found that it took much longer to lose the weight than to gain the weight. So I don't know about you, but my goal over the next few months is to have fun, enjoy my holidays, but not to become a statistic. Are you with me? So you're probably wondering, Allie, how do we do that, right? I've got parties, I've got things to do, especially we're coming off this pandemic. We can finally gather again. I'm going to be eating all the food and drinking all the wine. I get it, okay? First of all, we have to address the underlying issue behind the reason that we gain weight, or why we're not even right now maybe at our ideal weight. So, of course, we may be eating and drinking more at these holiday parties, and don't get me started on the Halloween candy that we're going to be consuming. But if that were the only reason that we gain weight, then why is it that some people get through the holidays without gaining a pound? And some people even lose weight, like I know, hate them too. But the reason is that the problem itself is not actually just in the extra food and drink consumption that you're, doing over the holidays. It's how we are eating the way that we are eating and why we are eating the way that we are eating. So, does any of this sound familiar? Have you been a yo-yo dieter? Do you feel shame when you look in the mirror? Have you found yourself using food as reward? Do you feel like you've tried everything to lose weight? Is it time to give up? Do you feel shame around your body? Do you feel shame around the food that you eat? Have you ever fed your feelings with food and then experienced that guilt, that judgment, that shame? And maybe you're frustrated with yourself because you're like, I should have figured it the F out by now. Why haven't I? You are not alone, okay? Our relationship with food can be very complicated because it's not just what we're eating and how much we're eating, but the way we're eating and why, right? And diet and exercise are amazing components of creating a healthy body, but if we're not addressing the emotional and spiritual issues that are underlying why we do what we do, then we're not able to fully heal our relationship with food. And therefore, the holidays are going to get us. All the diet and exercise in the world, frankly, is not going to get us to where we want to be. So I'm going to break something down for you right now. If you overeat, if you don't eat, if you're on a strict diet, if you emotionally eat, the answer is the same. We are trying to control a feeling that we don't want to feel. Sadly, the problem is the more we suppress those feelings, the more we train our body into the pattern of addictive eating, eating too much, or eating not the right fuel for our bodies, eating the things at the party that you wouldn't eat at home, right? We are perpetuating not dealing with our emotions. So instead of resigning ourselves to gaining weight this holiday season, let's make a conscious effort to heal ourselves of these toxic feelings and finally find what I call food freedom. So, Food Heals Nation, I have created a comprehensive 3-week course to help you do just that. Let's find food freedom together. For the rest of 2021, Food Freedom is available for 70% off. I've never done this before, but I wanted to give you a gift this holiday that will give back, right? They say it takes 21 days to form a new habit. So in 21 days, you could change your life. In 3 weeks from today, you could have the tools, strategies, practices, and mindset to end emotional eating, to drop that body shame, to finally find food freedom for good and show up at those holiday parties without the need to overeat or overindulge and looking good and feeling good in your cute outfit, right? Everything you need to know is over at dropthefoodshame.com. Go ahead now and claim 70% 20% off this holiday season from now until December 31st. But I wouldn't wait, because imagine in 3 weeks, you could have all the tips, tools, strategies you need to create a brand new relationship with food and finally find food freedom. It's all over at dropthefoodshame.com. Now back to my interview with Dr. Group. So, Dr. Group, I want to talk about the current state of affairs. We are, almost 2 years into this global pandemic, and people are still living in fear. But I'm not, and I know you're not. So, first, I just want to remind you, Food Heals Nation, that your health is still in your hands, and you can stay healthy regardless of what the media or friends or family or people around you are saying or telling you. Remember, your body is a self-healing mechanism, so you can be cleansing and healing and detoxing and boosting your immunity yourself. And of course, I'm here with Dr. Group, so we have to give a shout out because the incredible supplements at the Global Healing Center can help you do just that. Side note, use the coupon code FOODHEALS21 for 20% off all your supplements at globalhealing.com. Had to throw a commercial in there because this is my go-to, and I hope it's going to be your go-to too, if it's not already, Food Heals Nation. But Dr. Group, talk to me about the importance of immunity boosting during this pandemic, and what is your go-to health protocol? What are the things that you're taking every day and that you recommend that we do as well?
That's a question I've been getting a lot over the last over 2 years now.
I bet.
Most people don't really know exactly what to do or where to start. And believe it or not, I was one of the doctors on the COVID task force. And our job was to look at what's working all over the world, interviewing frontline doctors, figuring out how people can boost their immune system, what people can do naturally, the things that are working, the things that aren't working. So I have a lot of experience, because basically the last couple of years has just been nothing but trying to give people hope, give people faith, let people know that you do have the power to heal within. The strongest medicine in the world is already right inside of you. It's your self-healing mechanism. And the first question, or really the first statement, is why is your immune system not up to par? Why is your immune system not working 100%? Because if your body's immune system is at 100%, if you're strong, if you're healthy, there's really nothing that can affect you. You might get a little sick for a few days, but ultimately your body's going to be able to fight that infection off, and you're going to be able to survive. We learned a lot over the course of the last couple of years. We learned that a lot of people are deficient in vitamin D. We learned a lot of people's guts are unhealthy. We learned that a lot of people were in a state of fear, anxiety, emotional distress, which lowers your immune system. So really what we were looking at is, what are the conditions that are lowering people's immune system, and how can they boost their immune system? So what we found is the root cause of having a lowered immune system to begin with is from two different things. It's a toxic external environment and a toxic internal environment. So
that makes so much sense.
It's really, in simplicity, healing is so simple, actually, if you just understand why you're dealing with the conditions that you're dealing with. And when we talk about the two main causes of immune deficiency, those two causes are actually the root cause of all disease. Degenerative disease, obviously not genetic disease. But when we talk about the external environment, some of the things that we were looking at that were reducing people's immune system, probably the number one thing that we found was, believe it or not, social media and watching the mainstream media, because depending on what you're being told can create emotions in your system that can reduce your immune system. For example, stress, anxiety, fear, those are the main anger. Those are the main emotions that we saw over the last, especially really high over the last couple years. And when you're in a state or a sympathetic state of fight or flight, your immune system drops by 50%. So with people glued to the news, getting a lot of fear-based information, that was one of the main causes that we identified that was reducing people's immune system. So one of the we were telling people to do is to turn that stuff off, start focusing on yourself and not focusing and getting all agitated and getting angry and being fearful. And education. I mean, it's all about education, really. We were trying to tell people that, this is nothing more than, the common flu to a certain degree. We called it the pathogen, the pandemic pathogen, because it still to this day really hasn't been isolated as to exactly what it is. And so our group of doctors that were working for the government directly, that was what our job was to identify all this stuff and figure out what we can do to boost people's immune system. Not only was it the social media and the TV that we identified in the external environment, but we also identified friends and family and coworkers and stress at work and stress within families, depending on, you can come see this person, you can't come see this person. There was a lot of division. There's been a lot of division in the world in the last couple years. Some people might believe in the vaccine, some people might not believe in the vaccine. Some people, were more into understanding the truth behind COVID. Some people were, looking at other different methods of why COVID was there. So we found a lot of confusion, actually, and a lot of separation and a lot of anger towards different groups of people too, that was reducing the immune system. And that was the external environment. And the external environment also had to do with the amount of 5G people were exposed to. Now, that's a controversial topic that wasn't really talked about, but we were actually researching that. Our team was researching the effects of electromagnetic radiation and 5G on the immune system, because that's an outside source that you really can't feel, you can't see, but has a really powerful immune damaging effect from an outside source. So that what we found is, even in some studies, we found that can increase the replication rate of viruses by up to 400% in fungus and mold and different things like that. So those were some of the main immune deficiency things that we were finding in the external environment that people were exposed to.
So, Dr. Group, what is your daily immunity boosting protocol for yourself? We know turn off the news, limit your exposure to things that can upset you, limit your stress levels. What are you taking every day in terms of vitamins, supplements, feeding, fueling your body?
Yeah, so the cleaner your body is, the healthier your immune system is. The cleaner your gut is, the healthier your immune system is. So we didn't have a chance to touch on the internal causes of immune deficiency, and I'll touch on that really fast. And that's just going to be anything toxic that you're consuming through the food and the beverages that you're eating that are going to be reducing your immune system. So what I always like to say is the best thing to do, what I do to boost my immune system, and this is what we've used with thousands and thousands of people during the pandemic, is number one, eating healthier, eating organic foods, maybe not eating as much food as they normally eat, to conserve the energy so your body can actually fight off anything if it gets it. And then I always turn to, supplement wise, probiotics, because probiotics are your immune system. Your gut is your immune system. The healthier your gut is, the healthier your whole body is going to be, and the bigger chance and the more effective you're going to be at fighting off any type of infection or any type of harmful organism that comes in. So number one is feeding your body with good probiotics. With that being said, then you have to also look at what are the things that kill off probiotics in your gut. Well, eating a heavy meat diet does that. Drinking lots of coffee, eating acidic foods, cooked foods, microwaved foods, any type of alcohol, excess alcohol, many basically man-made pesticides, insecticides, genetically modified foods, things to that nature. So by switching over to more organic, more live foods, eating more fruit, eating more vegetables, drinking more vegetable juicing more, those are going to be the things that your gut really need so they can grow that microbiome in there. We were really against giving people antibiotics during COVID or during the pandemic, because you're basically killing the immune system off if you do that. But so my number one is Floratrex. I mean, we use Floratrex for that. It's a probiotic formula that we created, that it has a broad spectrum of all of the microorganisms, the good, healthy microorganisms that you need to produce all of the immune compounds that you need to repair your gut and for your gut to thrive, for that microbiome to thrive.
Amazing. Yes, probiotics are key to health. And I'm sitting here drinking my green juice. I'm feeling good about myself so far.
Yes, we need more green juice drinking with everybody these days. I mean, to get that live vibrations in there. But my second favorite mineral is iodine. I'm a big fan of iodine because Dr. Brownstein's work, I've worked with him over the years and studied him and all of his work. And then myself have been really, really big into iodine for probably close to 10 or 15 years. To me, iodine is one of those miracle supplements that everybody should be on, because the majority of people, I would say over 98% of the people, are iodine deficient. You're not going to be, it's a vital nutrient, it's a vital mineral that we need inside of our body every single day. It is a very strong antibacterial, antimicrobial. It is a very strong regenerative mineral. It is a halogen. And it's one of the only things that will detoxify the other halogens from your system, which are going to be fluoride, bromide, chloride. And so we have an excess of those. And most people that are sick or they're immune compromised have an excess of mostly bromide, because bromide is everywhere in brominated compounds. All your furniture is sprayed heavily with bromide because it's a fire retardant. Everything inside of your car is heavily sprayed with bromide. It's just very, very hard to avoid. So what happens is these toxic halogens end up saturating your tissues, especially the thyroid. They end up calcifying your pineal gland, which is your third eye, which is your access to spiritual experiences and enlightenment. They end up having an affinity for the prostate and the reproductive organs, which can cause infertility. We're seeing a lot of infertility these days. So iodine is incredible for boosting the immune system, detoxifying heavy metals, detoxifying all those halogens from the system. And it's a broad spectrum antimicrobial. As a matter of fact, we submitted a 17-page paper to the government on iodine's efficacy for COVID-19. Iodine was the main thing that was used during the 1918 Spanish flu. It was Lugal's solution, is what they called it. And even in the ancient apothecaries, when iodine was bonded to potassium iodide, that was the antibiotic that everybody used up until the pharmaceutical antibiotics. So iodine is it's a natural compound that does 1,000 different things in the body. So that's boosting the immune system. You should definitely be on iodine. If you ever get sick, if you ever catch anything, iodine is one of the first go-to supplements in my medicine cabinet. I mean, even if you're stranded on an island somewhere, you can put a drop of iodine in a gallon of murky water and it sterilizes it. You can use iodine.
Really? Wow, I had no idea.
Iodine on your skin for cuts and burns and scrapes. It's really, really powerful. There's no virus, bacteria, mold, yeast, any organism that has ever been able to develop a resistance to iodine. And iodine will kill every microorganism that's out there.
Wow. So yeah, stop listening to the news. Start listening to Dr. Group, Food Heals Nation. This is amazing information. Dr. Group, thank you so much. Anything else you want to add? What about vitamin D, vitamin C?
Yeah, my next was going to be vitamin D. Absolutely. And I like to go over nutrients that most people are deficient in. The studies that we were looking at, most of the people that actually got COVID were ones that had very, very low vitamin D levels. I've been saying for years that the majority of the population has low vitamin D levels. So vitamin D is absolutely necessary for your immune system and just your overall health in general. So I recommend taking, anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 IUs a day, every other day. It's really hard to get your vitamin D from sunlight these days. Most people slather on all kinds of personal care goods and moisturizers, and they have sunblocks in them. So unless you're not putting anything on your skin and you're going out in the sun, you really should be taking a vitamin D supplement every single day. The people that had high vitamin D levels, they're the ones that really have strong immune systems and didn't have to suffer from any of the symptoms that people were getting through the pandemic. And then of course zinc. I mean, we looked at zinc, and all of these were what we were recommending. Actually, it's just that we also learned the mainstream media had an agenda that they wanted to push. And without getting too deep into conspiracy type, well, it's actually true. It's not conspiracy, but we had solutions, natural solutions from week 5. From all over the world. And this is what they were using: probiotics, iodine, vitamin D, zinc. So
Yeah, I remember early on reading about they were doing high dose vitamin C and vitamin D, and people were getting better. And I was like, why isn't this well known? Why isn't anyone talking about this?
everything that we presented got squashed. Everything that we
Mm.
presented got squashed. And not only that, we had to sign, documentation that we wouldn't talk about it. We were, had to sign gag orders basically. And so it wasn't about, helping the people, because we had 100% success rates, these doctors that we were interviewing from around the world, using probiotics, iodine, vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, ozone, many different things.
Mhm.
But there's no money in that for the pharmaceutical cartels. So they're not going to be promoting
Exactly.
the natural substances on how to naturally boost your immune system. They're gonna want to make a bunch of money on it and give you man-made things that actually reduce your immune system. And most of the people that did the natural things ended up surviving. The people that went to the hospitals, which they had the complete wrong protocol in place, putting people on ventilators and putting them filling them full of non-approved medications and steroids and antibiotics and all that other stuff, ended up killing a lot of people that went to the hospital.
And then it's
But
labeled a
zinc, I
COVID
always
death.
recommend a plant-based organic zinc. I mean, we were the first ones to produce a plant-based organic zinc extracted from the plant itself. And I recommend anywhere between 7 milligrams to 21 milligrams a day for that. And one of the other things that I really love for immune is quercetin. Quercetin it's a compound that we extract from plants, and it works really, really well for respiratory sinuses, and it also works really well for the immune system as well. Those vitamin C, of course, that's just a standard. And then what we found was working really good was natural parasite. You heard about ivermectin, you heard about hydroxychloroquine. We were using a natural quinine based, because it's based on quinine. So we extract that, and we had 2 products, which were Paratrex and Mycozil, which have the black walnut, the wormwood, the jatoba, the podiarco, the natural shikimic and suramin, the shikimic acid and suramin in there, which are highly effective against any type of virus, or let's just say a pathogen, because we think that there was some parasitic components involved as well. So we were using those, and those aren't necessarily the way that works on boosting the immune system. It kills off any of the replication, and kills off the actual harmful organism, which means if you kill off the harmful organism, it's going to free up your immune system to actually do its work. And there was 2 other things that we were looking at, and that should finish it up. The 2 other things that we found, which nobody was talking about at the time, was a copper 1, which is called a cuprous nicotinic acid. Now, Copper is extremely, extremely beneficial for the immune system. It's deficient. Most people have a copper deficiency unless you have a home with old copper pipes in there. But that's copper 2. See, copper 2 and copper 1 are completely different from each other. Copper 2 is what you find in the soil. It's what you have in the copper pipes. It's what you find in most nutritional supplements. And that's the wrong kind of copper for the body. It has a positive charge. It's an inorganic copper. And so what happens is when copper's in the soil, it gets taken up by the plant, and the plant converts it to copper 1. Copper 1 is the organic form of copper. So when you eat your vegetables, you get a small amount of copper 1. That's the absorbable form of copper. That's the kind of copper that your immune system needs to function. However, copper 1 is also a very, very strong and active antiviral. So it will attack viruses, and it'll even do it inside the cell. So we found that the copper 1 is extremely effective as an immune modulator and also as an antiviral and anti-harmful organism or anti-pathogen component. So that was one of the things that not too many people knew about, and still to this day, I mean, you could ask probably thousands of natural health practitioners if they know about cuprous nicotinic acid, and they'll probably say they've never heard about it. But when we started looking at the research on the mRNA, especially with the ingredients that are in the vaccines, we noticed that copper has the ability to turn off the replication of the mRNA. And not only that, the interactions between the copper 1 and viruses is pretty intense. So that, I would say, is it's a new compound. Not too many people know about it, but it's probably one of my favorite to use and to keep your immune system strong. And then the last one would be the supercharged C60, not the regular C60. So there's C60 is a carbon 60. It's a fullerene molecule. It's found in shungite, and it kind of looks like a soccer ball. It's the base element of the carbon structure. Now, we've been looking at this molecule for quite some time. It has a really, really good ability to absorb radiation, to protect you against radiation, but it has really strong detoxification properties and really strong harmful organism properties. So there's been companies out there selling C60 for quite some time. I've been working with a company for about the last 4 years, which has figured out a way to create one C60 molecule, but then almost like an onion, to layer 26 layers around it. And so they named it supercharged C60 because it's about 100 times more powerful than the standard C60 out there. And it's also made in the USA at a manufacturing facility down in Florida. A lot of people have to be careful when they buy C60 because a lot of it's contaminated. It's coming from China. And it's not pure. It's like 90% pure, and they have a lot of other ingredients in it. But C60, supercharged C60, is probably one of the most effective compounds that I've ever found in my entire life for being able to go through the body, grab onto any type of toxin, chemical, metal, anything all that stuff is just reducing your immune system. All that toxicity that you're collecting inside your system is reducing your immune system. So that's the ultimate detoxifier, is the supercharged C60. And those are my favorite ones, as well as the one thing that we recommended everybody do, which is actually really, really healing in itself, is to drink distilled water only. Distilled water has gotten a really, really bad rap over the years. I used to think it was bad for you. I drank the Kool-Aid, like a lot of people drank the Kool-Aid when we used to hear, oh, don't drink distilled water. Distilled water is going to leach minerals from your body. I've been spending a lot of time on water research over the last 10 years. We use only triple distilled biophotonic water in our products. And one of the things that I've been studying is distilled water and how it works on the body. We've been taught a deception and a lie that that distilled water is bad to drink. Distilled water is the only water that God creates, and it's the only water that nature creates. It's the water in fruit, it's the water in vegetables, it's the water in rain, it's the water in fog, it's the water in dew. We have to stop believing and looking at science all the time, and we have to start looking at how nature does things. That's where we've gone wrong. We've switched over to a science man-made system, and we've forgotten about the simplicity of nature. So distilled water is one of the best things in the world to clean your body of all the inorganic minerals and elements that you're accumulating inside your system. So part of the lie was true. Distilled water will leach the inorganic minerals from your body. Think about people that eat at restaurants. Think about all the food that people consume, the cooked food, the processed food, the fake minerals, the synthetic minerals that are put in food, that are fortified with food. Those are all inorganic minerals. The reason why you see people over 50 and 60 bent over and barely walking is because we are turning to stone, slowly turning to stone, because our tissues are becoming calcified, our arteries are becoming calcified, our muscles are becoming calcified, and it's all because we're ingesting too many inorganic minerals. Distilled water will leach the inorganic minerals from your body and flush them out. It will not
Wow.
touch the organic minerals. The organic minerals are the minerals just like I was talking about with copper. Same thing happens with plants. They take the inorganic minerals from the soil and they convert them to organic minerals. Same with fruits, same with nuts, same with seeds. Any living food converts inorganic to organic. That when you eat them, you get the organic minerals in your body. If you heat them and cook them, they flip over to inorganic. Or if you're eating anything with fortified, like let's say man-made B vitamins, man-made D, man-made E, the DL alpha tocopherol succinate, or the calcium carbonates and all these man-made or inorganic minerals that are being added, then your body starts slowly accumulating these. So distilled water is the only water that's going to clean out and detoxify you on a daily basis and start removing all of those inorganic minerals that we're accumulating every single day. So I recommend at least 3/4 to a gallon of distilled water every single day.
Wow. Well, I love detoxing with water, but I don't think I knew enough about distilled water. Is this something that you prefer to buy or you prefer to make? Because you can make it, right, by heating up the tap water, turning it into vapor, and then it leaves
Well,
around what comes out of it. That's the distilled water. Am I right?
yeah, so you can buy the distilled water, even if it's in plastic containers, gallon containers. Distilled water will conjugate if there's any plastics or anything in there, it will conjugate and bond to it. You will not absorb it into your system. It'll just go into your bowel and you'll release it.
Hmm.
However, the best way to do it is to buy your own distillation unit. You can buy them from $300 to $400, and they'll produce 5-gallon. Get a 5-gallon glass, your water container that you put on your dispenser, and you can buy countertop units to where you can pour tap water into it, and it will steam distill it, and then the distilled water will run into your 5-gallon water container, and it can do. One unit I use Durasteel. Durasteel is a good brand. And if you just make that investment, you'll have all the water you need produced for you for the rest of your life. And you can do, I think, 2 5-gallon glass containers in a day with your tap water running into that. You'll never have to buy water again. So that's what I recommend.
I'm so down for this. Okay. And then what about alkaline water? That's something that I've been drinking for years and thinking I'm, alkalizing my body when I do it. Is it a racket? Is it real? What do you think?
Well, it's not. I would say that anytime you're drinking alkaline water, you're over a long period of time. I don't think it's going to be helping you that much. Maybe in the initial stages, distilled water is going to be anywhere between 6.5 to 7.5 most of the time.
Okay.
You can even add a tiny pinch of sodium bicarbonate in there. You don't want to put a lot. That's an inorganic mineral, so you don't want to put a lot of it in there. But ultimately, when you're talking about pH, eating more fruits and vegetable juices, I would say is going to be, that's your natural alkaline water right there
Okay,
in
gotcha.
your fruits and your vegetables. I mean, personally, I would switch completely over to distilled water only, be the only water I would drink. There's just, even if distilled water did lead to organic minerals from the body, which it doesn't, think about how many pounds of food people are putting in their body every single day. It would
Right.
literally be impossible for you need something that's leaching all that stuff, all those toxic inorganic minerals out of your system every single day. That's the biggest issue. And people drink a bunch of spring water, and spring water is the same thing. Spring water, everybody says, "Oh, San Pellegrino has 700 parts per million of minerals in it." Yeah, those minerals are all inorganic. Those minerals are just going to like start turning you to stone. And there's been lots of research, actually. I'm going to be publishing some research on this because it's such a controversial subject out there. But there's been doctors that have done research on this, and if you put a two bowls, one bowl of distilled water, one bowl of tap water, one bowl of spring water down for your pet, most of the time the pet will go to the distilled water.
Oh, I'm so trying this. I love that so much. Okay, so Dr. Group, why are your supplements different from other supplements out there on the market? Because we know there is a supplement company coming up every minute, and I'm like, is this a good one? Is this a bad one? And how do we tell?
Yeah, that's a question I get all the time, and it's a really good question. First of all, you have to look at the owner of the company and look at what their quality control is, and what their mission is. I mean, our mission has always been to produce the highest quality supplements out there, raw if possible, preserve the natural components of the plants. And ultimately, like Tesla and Einstein said, everything in life comes back to vibration and energy. That's it. Vibration and energy. So we try to produce the highest vibrational, highest energetic products out there. We're one of the only privately owned companies left. Most companies have been bought up by private equity. They've been bought up by the pharmaceutical companies. And once those companies come in, they just completely destroy the vibrations of the products. They get the cheapest products they can. They just try to turn it around and sell it 5 years later. I'll give you an example. So if we're using milk thistle, we can buy $5 a pound milk thistle that's been sitting in a warehouse in China for probably 2 or 3 years in the heat. Or we can buy a fresh organic milk thistle for $18 a pound. We're the kind of company, first of all, I want to take all of our supplements. And if I'm going to take them, I only want to take the best.
Right.
So we're the $18 milk thistle, which still has the components in there, still has the essential phytonutrients in there, some of the essential oils in there, as fresh as it can be. Now, I'll tell you a story that I didn't know about, which also is one of the biggest things that I found out that I want to let people know about. We just went through an NSF certification process. Now, NSF is natural, certification for cleanliness, and if you're NSF certified, you're food certified, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, yeah.
We paid $80,000 to go through the certification. At the end of the
Wow.
certification, they said there's 2 things that you guys need to do and you can be certified. Number 1 is you need to remediate your raw materials when they come in. Now, that means X-raying or radiating or microwaving the raw materials when they come in. Now, if anyone doesn't know what happens to a living herb when you put it in the microwave or you expose it to electromagnetic radiation or you steam it at 200 and something degrees, it kills the vibration and the life force of that herb or that component that you're bringing into your facility. The second thing they wanted us to do is they wanted us to put an X-ray machine at the end of the finished good lines. That means when your product is finished, it's in the bottle, it's all wrapped, it has to go through a big X-ray machine or it has to go through a metal detection system. Now, they say that they want to check to make sure there's no metal shavings in there from any of the machines. Do I believe that? No, I don't. So what I found out is that every single product that you're going to get on the shelf at Whole Foods or in the health food store is radiated and the life force is dead in it. I basically
Wow.
told NSF, there's the door, and lost $85,000 for in a year's worth of inspections because I told them I would never radiate our raw materials coming in. I would never x-ray them. I would never microwave them. I would never heat them up to 212 degrees because you're killing the life force. What heals you is the life force. What heals you is the energy in the supplement. It took us 7 years to invent a raw herbal extraction process using all cold methods to where we can preserve that life force. So when you take it, it's like you picked it fresh from the ground and you put it in your mouth. So we turn them down because we don't want to be in a position to where we kill the main thing that makes our products so special. We don't use any chemicals, any fillers, any excipients, anything. We use only raw, organic, non-GMO ingredients. We were the first company in the world to build from the ground up a manufacturing facility in Phoenix, Arizona, using all organic materials, to the point where we had to reinvent the epoxy flooring that you have to have in your manufacturing facility under FDA CGMP guidelines. The ones that all the other manufacturing facilities use are extremely toxic and produce volatile organic compounds into the air. We had to invent one that had no VOCs. We have all organic paint on the walls. We have a state-of-the-art air purification system using ionized hydroperoxides. Everything in our facility is meticulously cleaned with only organic cleaning products. We play music for the herbs. We're the only facility in the United States that uses all glass vessels for processing. The only other one is in Germany. So we don't use aluminum containers, steel containers, anything like that take the energetic value out of the herbs. Basically, I'm insane about quality and about the freshness of everything, to the point where they called me up one day and said, "Hey, we got to scrape these vessels out. We have some herbs and we have some, crystals forming on there. We need to just scrape them clean. But we know that you don't want, any metal scrapers in there or any plastic scrapers. What do you want us to do?" I had to think about it for about a month and look at what was available. And I found a guy who makes and carves stone in like ancient tools and stuff like that. That was his hobby. And so we actually I had somebody go to the Stonehenge because I wanted to find a very energetic paramagnetic stone that would impart really high frequencies, healing frequencies, into the things that we were scraping. And we got a block of stone, basalt, paramagnetic basalt, from the original quarry that Stonehenge was taken from, which is one of the most spiritual paramagnetic stones out there. And he actually carved and polished a scraper out of the Stonehenge rock. So we use that to scrape all of our vessels or anything that needs to be scraped. So that's the attention to quality. Even the hoses that we have to run through there are we don't use plastic, those plastic hoses that all the other manufacturing facilities use. We use a silicone platinum hose, which imparts a platinum frequency into the herbs. Not only that, we only use triple distilled biophotonic water that we infuse light and sound frequencies into as the base of our raw herbal extraction process. We created an Ormus supercharged minerals to even impart a higher vibrational frequency into all of our products. So we're constantly looking for ways to increase the efficacy, increase the power, increase the vibration, the energy of our supplements, to make the best possible nutritional supplements in the world that you can take and you can get results with.
Wow. I was already your super fan. I am so blown away. And now that I know that you play music to them and you do the Stonehenge scraping, I mean, this is incredible. I don't think there's any other company out there doing the amazing work that you are doing. And I trust you guys with all my heart and soul, and everyone that I can, I will refer to you. So thank you so much for the work that you do over at Global Healing Center and the work that you do to help people heal and realize the body's incredible ability to heal itself and just give it the tools that it needs to do so.
Well, thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, educating people, teaching them how to heal themselves, teaching them how to be their own doctor, basically. That's what we're all about. It just gives me pleasure and joy every single day to be able to come to work and help people.
I love that. Thank you so much for being here today, Dr. Group. I know people are going to get so much out of this. And if they have any questions, how can they follow you online, stalk you, reach out, give us the goods, Instagram, all the things?
Yeah, they can follow Global Healing on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on Telegram at Dr. Group Official on Telegram if they want to follow me. And at least that's where I can actually talk about stuff because we're heavily censored. But the Dr. Group YouTube channel as well, there's so many great videos on my YouTube channel. You can spend days on there just watching and learning. So all the social media, but Telegram especially. And then also, we just launched the Global Healing Institute. If anyone's interested in becoming a teacher, becoming their own doctor, or just learning about the root cause of disease, we have the root cause of disease course there that they can take. The
Wow.
power of fasting course on there. We have a parasite course on there. And we just keep adding courses on the Global Healing Institute just to educate people, to give them the confidence that they need, teach them all the things that I've learned over the last 20 something years. And if you do just take one course, then you get free access to the Global Healing Institute private Telegram group where we talk about all kinds of things, tips and tricks, and do special Q&As with just the Global Healing Institute group. So that's what I would say is the best place to really get the inside information.
Oh, amazing. So that's over at globalhealinginstitute.org. I am definitely going to check this out. I'm looking at all the courses I want to take. Okay, awesome. And Food Heals Nation, make sure to go to globalhealing.com, get your supplements, get your liver cleanses. Everything you need is there. Use the coupon code FOODHEALS21 and you will get 20% off your order. Thank you so much for that discount, Dr. Group, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Side effects of this podcast may include increased health and vitality, thoughts of living longer, developing a more positive outlook on life. In rare cases, people have experienced a strong desire to actually start using their $39.99 a month gym membership. If you experience any of these symptoms, Snapchat your trainer immediately.